The gaffer stood still on the touchline. The centre-backs are claiming offside. 3 goals down to nil at half-time. And the striker sent another shot wide. Supporters only sing when they're winning and boo us after every defeat. The chairman launders foreign dirty money, and no one's seen or heard of him for 10 weeks. Getting sacked in the morning. You're getting sacked in the morning. You're defeated and you're playing at home. You're getting sacked in the morning. Getting sacked in the morning. You'll be gone without warning. All the best players have gone out on loan. He's getting sacked in the morning.
Hello to everybody and welcome to Sacked in the Morning, the football podcast that has a lot riding on it. No, shut up, man. I was just half.
Every time.
The football podcast that has a lot riding on it. It is our predictions episode. We are now going to review our previous season's predictions and see who owes who the big bucks. My name is Richard. I am your host. I am joined once again by my two guests, Tom and Thelan. Hello to you both. How are you, gentlemen?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, not bad.
Good to hear from you. So, I trust that no one has been cheating. No one has gone back and listened and see who won. No one. I don't trust either of you. So,
I'm loving the fact that it's showing right now.
Did listen a few months ago to check who had the Champions League predictions, but I haven't listened since the season ended. So,
okay, so we haven't.
Outside of when we first recorded it and it was uploaded, I have not listened to it since.
Okay.
I wanted to be pleasantly surprised when we did this.
I have a feeling, ladies and gentlemen, that they've gone spoilers, and I hope they haven't.
Well, how do we know you haven't gone spoilers, eh, Mr. Person over there?
Well, I mean, technically, I went Thelan spoilers because I had a feeling that Thelan didn't write his down. Say
that 3 times. Say that 3 times fast.
That was difficult. I was a bit like, whoa.
Yeah.
So technically, I know how you've done. Yeah, but that means nothing if I don't know how well Tom and myself have done. So
yeah.
So hopefully we should be all right. Now, we should have a sealed envelope. Usually, I would have Tom's and Tom would have mine. And then Phelan's new, so we need to figure out a way to get him into it as well. But Phelan would need to post his to us. And then I'm not sure why me and Tom didn't swap. Yeah, exactly, yeah. But I have a sealed envelope here.
It's your envelope, your predictions, right?
This is my envelope with my predictions,
right.
Yes.
Right, good. They got mine in, then we're in trouble.
No, this should be mine.
This could be a really short roundup. Otherwise.
Yeah.
We've got no predictions. I got feelings, and that's it. If you want to know who won, go back and listen to that episode.
And if we're going by my World Cup predictions, this definitely wouldn't take very long. Because
but you'd win by default though, because you're the only one with results.
Yeah, but it matched to one result is still crashing and burning pretty hard.
Default, the 2 greatest words in the English language. Right. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So we are going to get started with the predictions. So last season, 2022-2023, right?
That's the one.
Dates, right? Yeah,
that would be the one, yes. You did have to think about that for a second.
I did. I was like, what year are we in? It feels like
a year
that
already.
It has, yeah.
Yeah, it really does.
It has. Right, so it is a bit of a reduced one this time because I believe that whilst we were actually saying this, we got rid of the manager to be fired first because there had been so many sackings by that point, yeah. And we also got rid of the next manager to be fired because that was very, very close as well. But that prediction does not count in this one. Along with the Ballon d'Or winner, we also said because that had already been drawn by the time we made the predictions because of the World Cup. So we also said that one didn't count as well, right? So those two are off of the list straight away. So we shall begin at the very, very tippy top. The top 4. Champions first. Who did you have, Tom?
Man City.
Very good. Thelan, who do you think you had?
Man City.
Very good.
Unanimous across the board.
And I also had Man City. So each of us will get 1 point from there. So keep track, gentlemen. All right.
I really would have loved to have been wrong, though. On that one.
Yeah.
I also think, it would have taken something special to top City, and as much as Arsenal tried for the majority of the season, if you came to 4 and they fell away.
It's not experienced enough in the title race at this point in the place.
Was it statistically proven that it was the biggest bottle of the Premier League era?
Yeah.
I still debate it, though. I still debate it. I think
everyone knew Arsenal would bottle it, so if you know it's going to happen, is it that much of a bottle?
I also think that it was a really bizarre season, obviously, because you had the World Cup in the middle that cocked it on the schedule up, and
I do.
That's good.
Yeah, I do kind of agree. I think the Liverpool bottle job was worse than the Arsenal bottle job.
Are we talking the Gerrard slip bottle job?
Yeah. Yeah, because Arsenal being chased by City, who, as I think as we've discussed numerous times before, had the ability to just string 16 wins together. Liverpool were being chased by Mourinho's Chelsea, and they were in control, and then they just literally fell apart. They were 3-0 up against Crystal Palace, weren't they? And then 3-3. So I do consider that a bigger bottle job.
I still personally don't think it's that big a deal. I am a Spurs fan, and we finished 3rd in a 2-horse race, so can't really complain, really. So I don't really have a leg to stand on. So, Tom, you are safe from mockery for me. I will not mock you. I think Arsenal had a great season last season, and I don't think they have anything to be ashamed about, personally.
No.
Okay. Right. Continuing the top 4. You will get a point for each team that you have that finished inside the top 4. It doesn't matter where they finished. So, the real top 4 were Man City, Arsenal, Manchester United, and Newcastle. I have 1 point from that top 4, not including Man City, because Man City, obviously, we already get the point for anyway. I had Arsenal finishing in 4th. My second team was Spurs. My third team was Liverpool.
Can we just skip my top 4, because I don't think I've got any of them.
Well, we're going to go to Tom first, because no one wants to hear my voice again. So we'll go to Tom.
Well, that's exactly the same top 4 I had. I had Spurs to finish 2nd. What was I thinking? Liverpool 3rd and Arsenal 4th.
That is.
I had the 1 point for Arsenal, and then.
However, I would like to say that on my prediction show, I specifically remember laughing at saying Tottenham are going to finish 2nd, because by the time we'd done that show, we'd already started to drop off. We were still in the top 4, but we'd started And I remember saying, if I could replace anyone, I would replace Tottenham with Newcastle. I didn't predict it at the beginning of the season, because who would have said Newcastle would finish in the top 4? This season, I probably would have said, yeah, Newcastle will probably finish in like the top 5 or 4 this season. But last season, no, that was their we've just got our money, let's go sign Joe season, wasn't it? You know?
Yeah, we were all expecting them to kind of struggle in that first full season with the extra money to balance FFP and, you know, just try and put a team together that would finish mid-table and continue that progression up the league. Not
exactly,
to gate-crash the top 4 by putting 6 past first.
Exceeded expectations for sure, yeah.
Oh, massively.
I kind of hope they carry on next season, you know, but then you also think, well, that's another team that's going to buy their position in the league, basically, isn't it? You know, so that's one more Champions League position that's out of it, pretty much for everyone, you know. And then,
well, isn't this the last season of the old format anyway? Because the new format is depending on your coefficient rating, you potentially get an extra Champions League place for the league, depending on where the team with the highest coefficient outside of the top 4 finishes.
This is their desire to basically make sure that every team with brand recognition gets in, isn't it?
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
So
but it
the
does
Champions
mean
League.
it does. Yeah, but it does generally mean now there'll be 5 English teams, potentially 5 English teams in the Champions League, depending on who finishes where in the European
Champions League. Can we start putting it in air quotes, please? I'd appreciate it.
I'm just going to start calling it the European Cup.
European Cup, yeah. The
not
money ball, the Moneyball trophy. Right. Well, Thelan,
I'm fairly certain I had the top 4 from the previous season, which would have been Liverpool, Spurs, and Chelsea.
You are correct. You had Chelsea in second place, Liverpool in third, Spurs in fourth. You pick up 1 point from the top 4. But
yeah, it was tragic.
It's not that bad. We only picked up 2 points, so we didn't do great either in the top 4. So, you know.
How competitive top 4 is now, isn't it? Only one team from
Yeah, I mean, I mean, at the very, very start of the season, even before we did our predictions, no one would have put Arsenal in the top 4. I guarantee.
No, nobody would have. And a lot of people have predicted Chelsea to just fall off the edge of an actual proverbial cliff after spending 600 million.
Yeah, but I mean, there is no way that anyone, I think, would have picked Arsenal, Man United, and Newcastle to finish in the top 4.
No. I thought Man United were the weaker of the big 6 going into the season.
Yeah.
I thought at the start of the season they were, until Chelsea fell off the cliff, and then Spurs fell off the cliff.
Liverpool just decided they wanted to wait till April to start playing football.
Yeah.
Very bizarre season, all in all, in the top 4, wasn't it?
But we did say, the World Cup is going to throw a lot of crazy, with the World Cup being a condensed season, it was always going to throw some crazy stories out. And, the top 4 was definitely proof of that.
All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about the top 4? Anything specific you want to mention, or should we move on?
Do you think like United and Newcastle, they did really kind of profit on what happened with Liverpool and Chelsea? But do you think Chelsea can get out of the bottom 10 this season with the way that they're again doing their transfer business?
I think they're right. They've been more stable this season. You think so than last season, right?
I think they're going to finish in the top 4.
Well, that's no European football next season, right? So they concentrate on the league. That's their objective season. That's their focus.
But I think they've had 10 players go out and they've brought 8 in, so they still haven't trimmed their squad.
I still think they're going to be the main title challenger. I don't think they're going to get... I don't think they're... No. They're not going to get close to it. They're not going to get close to it, but they'll be the only team challenging, I think. I don't think Liverpool are going to get there. Arsenal, I don't think are going to be able to do the same thing again. I think that they might get in the top 4 again, but I don't think it's going to be as good because I think they caught everyone off guard last season. I think this season it'll be a much harder ask for them, I think. And yeah, I think that Pochettino has a very good reputation in this country for being able to get very good performances out of players. I think that will serve him well at a Chelsea team where they probably looked at Graham Potter and thought, who are you? Oh, you're the cleaner, right? You're coming in to clean the dressing room, right? Yeah. I think he'll be able to get a little bit more respect out of the team.
So damning indictment of Graham Potter, I would like to add right there.
But what I'm saying is
no,
that
I know 100% what you're saying. The players have got to respect you as a manager and what you might be able to do, and there wasn't that there. It was just like, you're the guy that come from Brighton who just finished 10th in the league. You've got no pedigree, no experience.
It's like you did all right. Yeah, you did all right at Brighton, but that's Brighton, you know. Whereas Pochettino got Tottenham to a Champions League final. And I think that a lot of players at Chelsea will have a lot more respect for that. Plus, he's worked with Messi and Neymar, you know, and the other one who's at PSG. What's his name? That's the guy, yeah. That guy who laughed at joining Tottenham. The bastard. No, I thought that was a joke when I read that. I was like, please, come on, that's ridiculous. He is far more likely to go to Saudi Arabia than Tottenham. Come on. But my point is that he'll have a lot more respect at Chelsea, and I think that he'll be able to get his message across better than Potter probably could.
And also, it's a lot less. Potter is quite complex as a coach in terms of, you know, what he wants the players to do, and he never settled on a system. He didn't settle on a way of playing. They kept alternating between 3 at the back, 4 at the back, 5 in midfield, 4 in midfield. Whereas Poch knows exactly how he wants to play, what he wants them to do, when he wants them to do it. So it's obviously a lot easier for these guys to buy into.
Yeah.
I mean, you say that now, but we'll have to see when the season starts, won't we?
Yeah, of course. None of us know.
Another problem with Potter is... the problem with Potter is the squad is too massive.
Yeah, but Poch's got the same problem.
True. Yeah, he used to find the best 11 as well.
Let's move on to the relegation zone, shall we?
What?
Now, the actual teams that got relegated, you will all remember, are Man City, Arsenal... Oh, no, sorry, wrong one. Leicester, Leeds, and Southampton. Thelan, care to take it?
Right?
All of us predicted Leicester, yeah. Care to take a punt at your 3, Thelan?
I think I had Everton. I think I had Everton, Leeds, and maybe Fulham. I can't remember.
You're wrong.
Yeah,
you had Nottingham Forest.
Oh yeah.
You did guess Fulham.
Yeah.
They obviously didn't go down. And you did guess Everton, but obviously didn't go down. So you have nil points for your relegation.
I told you this prediction for my tragic.
Tom.
Yes.
What are we looking at?
I also had Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did well to stay up. Give them credit. I had Bournemouth, who also looked certainties for relegation. I think they hammered 9-0 by Liverpool, but turned it around really well. I think Gary O'Neill has an argument for being the best manager of last season. And
yeah, I thought he was really harsh to treat to then be sacked at the end of the season. It was an absolutely shocking move.
Yeah. You get the old shit about and still, can you, Bob? Move on to this politics.
Yeah,
I know, but that was shocking.
I kind of disagree with both of you. I don't think he was that good, and I kind of think he deserved to be fired. I kind of feel like he kind of scraped it.
Well, they were safe quite a few games before the end.
Yeah, but it just kind of felt like it wasn't because they were any good. It's because everyone else below them was worse. Yeah, every time I watched Bournemouth, it felt like, Jesus, you were lucky to get a result there. It never felt like they were ever in control of any match that I saw them play, and it was just like, how the hell did you get out of that one?
Considering what he inherited after, Scott Parker committed career suicide and, they'd been absolutely ripped apart by Liverpool, I think he did a good job to keep them up. But I just think it was harsh. They gave him the contract. They never looked in danger really of going down, even when it was like 4 points between the bottom and kind of 16th, 17th. I always just thought they just kept picking up points. Could be in a sense that, they were literally the best of the worst, but I never really felt like they were in jeopardy. Not 100%. When you looked at that bottom six in kind of April, they weren't the team that I thought was going to go down.
I mean, it backs it up. He didn't pick them, so. So who's your third?
Nobody I picked got relegated, so
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had Forest and Bournemouth, so that's no points. But I did have Southampton.
So give yourself a point there. Okay, so on to me. My bottom three. I completely disagree with Thelan. I had Bournemouth, rock bottom of the league. I expected them to go down in a whimper, but I was wrong there. Fair enough, but I still don't think they're a particularly great team. Nottingham Forest, because historically any team that signs more than 16 players is going down. Like, let alone.
How many players did they actually sign by the end of the season?
25.
Like nearly 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was.
I'm fairly certain it was more than the 24-man squad limit.
Yeah, it was. Because they had players that they signed in the summer that they couldn't then re-register in January.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, it works. But how many of those signings would you say paid off? Maybe 5 or 6 of them, if that.
Well, look. The question you have to ask is who's still there. So Lingard's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, Lingard was a disaster.
But he was one of the most high profile of that bunch, wasn't he?
In the summer. Gone. And my final choice gives me 1 point. It is Leeds United.
Yeah. Leeds as well, yeah.
Yeah. So I have a single point from my relegation picks. So yeah. At the moment, it's Thelan on 1 point.
This is looking like the World Cup predictions all over again.
Me on 3 points. And Tom, how many are you on? 3 as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So 3-3-1. Still all to play for, Thelan. Still all to play for. So, from the teams that have left the Premier League, bye-bye, we turn to the teams that will be joining us next
I'll be surprised if any of us got this right.
So, the actual teams that came up last season are...
I've got a shocker in mine. No.
Don't worry, so have I, mate. Burnley, Sheffield United, and Luton. Thelan.
Oh, go away.
What do you think you put?
Well, I'm fairly certain I picked QPR, which turns into just a no.
You are correct. Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, I was shocking. I can't remember the others. I just know I had QPR in there, and they were even lucky to stay in the league by the end of the season. So it's not doing my reputation for picks any good. This is it. No.
Well, you say that. Your other two teams are Burnley and Sheffield United.
Happy days.
So you have 2 out of 3 for promoted teams. So not bad in the long run. Not bad at all. Tom.
Yeah.
What are we looking at?
Also have Burnley and Sheffield United.
Well done.
But my third team was Norwich.
Okay.
Actually.
So
Not
you're
as
2 out of 3 as well. Not as disastrous, no. But I'm about to give you a run for your money, Thelan. Because my teams are Burnley. So I would give myself a point for that. Norwich and Watford, who also had a pretty bad season last season.
Those are the 3 teams that were relegated the season before, right? So you went for the
yep.
tip.
Because I looked at it and I thought, well, Norwich always win the league when they, Timu Piki scores 900 goals and then can't score in the Premier League. Watford are Watford. They always come back. They're the biggest yo-yo team in history, I swear to God. And Burnley were a pretty safe bet as well, I thought, at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, Watford turned out to be my bogey team. Probably not as big a bogey team as QPR, but, but not
That's
great.
Hold me for a while, that one.
So I actually did the worst out of the promoted teams, which is one I always do, because I'm always the worst out of the promoted teams. That's usually because I try and pick a dark horse, like Charlton or someone like that, Cardiff, yeah. I usually try and pick a dark horse and it goes wrong. But last year I thought, no, I'm going to play it safe, and it still went wrong. So I don't know. What I'm bloody doing. So, but yeah, you 2 got 2 out of 3. I got 1 out of 3. So yeah, let's talk about Luton. Bit of a shock and a surprise. I don't think many people would have thought that.
You think for the last 2 seasons we've had Forest up in the playoffs, which nobody picked, which nobody would have picked, and now we've had Luton up in the playoffs, which absolutely nobody saw coming.
Yeah,
so it does show why the playoffs, as much as people aren't keen on them, it does throw an interesting story in there at the end of the season, which is what that's the magic of the playoffs. Yeah, and I think it's what makes the championship such an interesting watch compared to a lot of the top leagues in the rest in Europe, because it is so unpredictable. Your picks, my pick. You're saying you never generally do well out of promoted teams because it's so hard to call. It really is.
Tom seems to always do all right.
The only thing I'd say about Luton, they did get in the playoffs the year before, but I don't think anyone expected them to do as well this season and actually go up. They also had Nathan Jones in charge at the start of the season.
Yeah. He wished he stayed there now, didn't he?
But did you notice that all of the Luton players, after they actually got promoted, nobody said anything about the work Nathan Jones did at the start? It was all about what the new manager did after coming in, how he changed how they played and made them better. Not a single person said anything about the start they have with Nathan Jones.
You've got to ingratiate yourself with the new man, right? You want to play in the Premier League, Yeah, he's the greatest manager I've ever worked with.
But normally when somebody comes in and carries on the work that somebody else has done, which was good work, it's normally acknowledged somewhere along the line, but it was just not acknowledged by anybody. How do we think they're going to do?
Poorly. That could be a surprise package, I guess.
Yeah, this sounds like the most stupid thing to say in the history of the world because, of course it will, Richard, idiot. But it's 50-50, I think. And I know that sounds really stupid because it is. Because, it's either going to go one way or the other. Of course it is, Richard. But it's either going to be a sweet dream or a beautiful nightmare. And
I think the first one, they need a hot start. They need to capitalise on the momentum of going up in that first kind of month and a half of the season. I think the
stadium will help as well, because I know a lot of people are making a big deal about the stadium.
Ready till the middle of September.
But it's not that many games that they have to play away from it. It's only like, what, four or 5 games they're playing away? So as long as they don't get rolled over in those first 5 games.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. it's how they capitalise on those first 5 games being away from home. If they get rolled by every team, that's a problem, because I don't care how good you are at home and how intimidating your stadium is and how much that really helps you. If you're being rolled for your first 5 games, you are done at that point. You can't come back from that.
Well,
especially
just from like
you get left behind quickly.
It's not just that; it's just the mentality side of things as well, isn't it? Everyone will start going, "Wow, this league is way harder than I thought. We're not going to be able to do it," and then they'll never believe.
Yeah. If you've ever watched a documentary about the Derby County team that was the worst team in Premier League history, it was the same thing. They got rolled in their first few games, and it was just like everyone was just like, no, this is a lot harder than we were expecting. And Luton haven't really added to their team in the summer.
I mean, I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. I don't think that that's a bad thing. Sometimes I think too many teams come up, a la Nottingham Forest. All right, it worked for them last season, but so many teams come up and they sign tons and tons and tons of players because they think, well, we need to sign. And it's like, well, most of the players that you're signing just went down. Like, why do you want to sign them again? Why would you want to do that? So sometimes I think, kind of like Blackpool did, or Hull when they first came up, just stick with the team you got and just go at it, you know? You never know. I don't necessarily see not signing players as a bad thing. I think that maybe 1 or 2 might help, but just for squad depth more than anything. But
and that's the bit that I'd be concerned about is their squad depth. Because most teams in the Championship, they do rely on a lot of loan players to fill gaps in squads, and they haven't really. I think they've only made 2. They probably need another 2 signings to just fill the depth in their squad. But I'm concerned that they could end up with lower points hold than Derby County. I really do. I am very concerned.
I do not see that happening, no. But
if they don't start off well and they get rolled in their first 5 games before they get to their home stadium, I genuinely fear that they're not going to pick up a lot of points.
Who are their first 5 games, Tom?
Their opening game's Brighton away.
Tom, man, come on! You. I need to change your name in the description. It's not. No. This is your job, man. Jeez.
I haven't really put a lot of thought into that, Luke. If I'm being honest.
Thelan, you said they have Brighton first.
Yeah, hang on. So their first 5 games are Brighton, Burnley, Chelsea, West Ham, Fulham.
Easy games.
Burnley
Toughest game there is probably Brighton.
So and that's what I mean. If they get rolled in those first 5 games and don't pick up points in that run, then it becomes very difficult for them.
Yeah, I guess, but
because there are games there which you could say they could pick up points. You know, they play Burnley.
They do all right.
They've got Burnley in there. They've got Fulham in there. West Ham, who are obviously still reeling after losing Price. Wolves and Everton kind of round out September. So there are games in there that they should be able to pick up points for.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anyone in there besides you probably say Chelsea. That would be the only team in there that you could see them like rolling them 8, 9, something.
That's what
like
I mean,
that.
yeah.
But I don't think that there's anyone in there that would be of any particular threat. So I don't see them getting rolled in those games. But I see what you're saying, that if they do, then they're gonna be boned. Yeah.
Yeah. And that would be my concern.
All right then. Right. We turn our attention back to the Premier League for one final time. On this one, please, gentlemen. Well, actually, technically 2, but we can roll them all up in one because I'm pretty sure we all had the same answer for for one of them anyway, so it's fine. Golden Boot, and we might as well roll the PFA player in that as well, because everyone said Haaland.
Yeah.
Because that's the only spoiler I had, because the section that we discussed it on the podcast was so small. I basically said, does anyone have anyone other than Haaland? And everyone went, no. So it was like, okay. Yeah. So we all said Haaland. So we all have a point for that anyway.
It was probably the only section that was the easiest one to sort out, because it wasn't going to be anybody else.
Yeah.
Although props to Harry Kane for scoring 30 goals in the season when it was, in his first team that didn't go out and score a lot of goals. So yeah.
Yeah.
Such a mention of that. And then which player were you the most disappointed in last season?
Well, one of them will fit into my goal scorer predictions, so I'll leave that one.
I think I'm probably going to agree with him. I have a feeling I know who it's going to be. So I'm probably going to wait and hold back on that one as well.
Fine. We're all possibly on the same line.
Okay, I think we're all on the same page here. So then, gentlemen, Golden Boot top goal scorer. So let's start with me this time. So the real top goal scorers were Haaland, Kane, Tony, Salah, and Callum Wilson. So those were the actual top goal scorers in the Premier League. It's also, I would just quickly like to point out, 3 English players.
Yeah.
Nice to see. Nice to see. I'm happy about that. But obviously the top goal scorer was Haaland. You will get a point for each one that you have. So I have Kane, Haaland, Son, who actually came better. He came good towards the end of the season. Wasn't in the top goal scorer, top 5. But he was in the top 10. So he came good at the end of the season. Didn't have the same result that he did last season, obviously, but came good. Jesus, it was the other one. Obviously, he had a lot of time out, though, which didn't help, did it? Yeah. And Salah I had in there as well. So I have 3 out of 5 for that one. The player that I think we're going to talk about, I didn't have in there. I could have sworn I had him in my top goal scorers, but apparently I didn't. But I think we're going to let Tom kick this off because he seemed to bring this person up first. So, Tom, who did you have in your top goal scorers list?
Okay, so I had, I had Haaland, Kane, Salah. They're all top 5, right?
Yep, they're all in there. So that's 3 points you got. Yep.
Haaland, Kane, Salah. I also had Gabby Jesus.
No, okay.
Started
we were
well,
on the
but
same page,
obviously
yeah.
got injured, didn't he? So
yeah.
But he did play well when he came back. So that's
I still think he slotted back well into the team, didn't he? He just didn't really get the run at it that he probably should have. But next season, you never know.
Yeah, I hope so. He needs to score more goals with a chance for a title again. So.
I think as long as the goals come from somewhere, it's not that big a deal, is it? But
the last one is Chelsea's marquee signing from last summer, Raheem Sterling.
Ding 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 ding
yeah.
ding. Yeah. I'm really surprised I didn't have him in my golden boot. I'm sure I remember speaking about him, thinking that's a really good signing for Chelsea. I think you did,
but you went backwards and forwards on whether you were going to include him or not.
Did he score any goals in the Premier League? I'm sure he might have got 1 or 2, right?
So we will talk about this in just a moment. We're going to touch upon this in just a moment a little bit more. But continue your thought process for now. But we will speak about this again. Don't you worry.
So my thought process behind this prediction. So he was the big marquee signing from last summer, right? He was going to be the guy who was going to play up front.
Mm-hmm.
And they were trusting him to score the goals. That was what it looked like at the start of the season. And then it quickly became clear very early on that wasn't going to happen.
Really early.
And then they panicked and went, oh, crap. And they went out and got Aubameyang.
Who did that?
And sacked the manager 4 days later.
And then, fired the manager, De Bruyne.
Yeah. The manager who's played for him before, played for this manager before, he'll get the best out of Aubameyang. No, we're going to sack him.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And then, did he really do much the rest of the season, Aubameyang?
Nah.
I don't remember seeing him play
Did
after that.
either one of them do anything really for the rest of the season?
I think he was
pretty-
just happy to pick up the paycheck, basically, wasn't he? I think that's what he was just like.
So he's
enjoying the
Gillette,
London
but I think that's
lifestyle.
about as far as he gets his contribution for last season.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Sterling was a massive disappointment. I genuinely thought that's a really good signing for Chelsea. I thought that's a good
same.
move. It fits into their team really well. He is capable of scoring. He's great when he plays for England. But obviously at City, he always had someone else in that role. So I thought now he's at Chelsea, he might actually be able to get 20 goals a season.
Step out of the shadow and actually, that's what I mean, step out of the shadow and really impose himself and show the player that we all think he could have been, or could be. And it just went wrong. Really wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to think that Pochettino will get the best out of him next season, though.
But I don't think Pochettino's going to play him through the middle, though, is he? He's just going to be a winger again.
He's going to play him. He's going to play him wide.
I'm not going to do the best. I'm going to do the best.
I mean, I
In the
personally think
proper
that's probably his best position anyway, because he's got the pace and the skill to do something from that position. But I think that he thought, now's my time to shine. I'm at a decent
he wanted
team.
to be that number 9.
Yeah.
Carry the load, be that number 9, show everybody that I can do it, and that City were wrong to let me go. And, no. Yeah.
Looks like they got rid of him just at the right time, doesn't it? You know? So.
Yeah, it did, yeah. It literally looks like the best piece of transfer business if City, outside of signing Haaland, City probably did last season.
Yeah. But to continue this thought a little bit, Thelan, you also have Haaland, Kane, Salah, so you have 3 as well. You also picked Gabi Jesus as well. However, there is a little surprise, a little twist in the tale here. Your 5th pick is Isak from Newcastle.
Yep.
However, there was a bet placed on the line in this conversation. Tom bet £10 that Raheem Sterling would score more goals than Alexander Isak this season.
Did I?
You
No, I
did.
didn't.
You
Must have
did.
misquoted.
You could go back and listen. I listened to it twice to double check. Alexander Isak finished the season with 10 Premier League goals. Pretty decent return, actually, when we were both mocking and laughing at you.
Considering he spent a bit of time injured I would like to point out, we spent time on the sidelines, and, I know Callum Wilson did get into the top 5 of Premier League scorers, but I will die on my sword. I still think if he'd have been fit for the season, Isak would have done that.
I am totally winding my neck in, mate, and I am saying you were right. I was totally wrong. He looks the business in that Newcastle team, and I think had he been fit the whole season, then he could have quite easily got into this top 5. I would agree. He was not far away from it. So yeah. Raheem Sterling, on the other hand, scored 6 Premier League goals this season.
That many?
Wow, I was going to say, that's 5 more than I was expecting you to say.
But, Tom, you owe Thelan £10.
Fantastic. How do you want that?
So yeah, there was a little in there, that you can go back and listen to. It's in the podcast. You can go back and listen to it. Yeah, you owe Thelan £10. I was smart enough to deride Thelan for that choice, but not put my money on the line.
Yeah, I think Isak looked pretty good in the after the World Cup, probably. Looked pretty decent.
So technically, that could be a surprise player of the season, I would say, potentially.
I think if he hadn't spent some time injured and he missed quite a bit of time in the middle of the season, I would have said so, yeah. But 10 goals is a really good return.
It's a good return for a Premier League striker. I mean, or is it these days? I don't know. Maybe we're still thinking 90s, 2000s, where
It depends on, you know, if you look at how many games he played compared to how many goals he scored, then yeah, I still feel it's pretty good return.
That is us done with the Premier League. We have wrapped up the PFA and the top goal scorer pretty much in the same time.
So what's the points tally so far? I'm not going to lie.
So right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thelan has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at the moment. 7. Tom, how many do you have? I'm assuming you have 8 or 9.
I was just be counting this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Does Haaland count in PFA?
Yeah.
9 then.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. So 9, 8, 7. Pretty close. And I think this is where Thelan is going to come into his own, because we are going to talk about the cups now.
Yeah.
So Thelan might start to rake a little back in. We will start with the first trophy of the season, the League Cup. As we all know, it was won by Manchester City. No, wait. Oh, what's this? Oh, they didn't win the quadruple. Man United won the League Cup. Who gets a point for that? Richard gets a point for that. So boom, point for me. Thelan, you do not get a point because you said Man City would do the quadruple. So you are wrong on that instance. Tom, the wild card. Who did you say again?
I'll show you in a second. Can you see that?
Man City. Okay. He crossed out United. He crossed out United.
He did, yeah.
I changed it up.
He flipped and flopped on it, right?
That's got to sting, right?
It does sting, yes.
Ouch.
That was my original prediction into the score.
At least you can't accuse Tom of cheating if he crossed out the actual win.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He could have crossed out the City and just not put that bit on the page, just been like, here, look, it's... So,
yeah.
Oh, that's got to hurt.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, like I said before, I'm pretty happy they didn't do the quadruple. So...
Thanks, Southampton.
But yeah, thank you, Southampton, once again. Your contributions to football will never be forgotten. So now they're famous for the grey kit and stopping City winning the quadruple. That's their achievements in football, right?
Yeah, if you like.
Yeah, that's Southampton's claim to fame now.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the other cup.
By George Ware's cousin.
Yeah, oh yeah, George Ware's cousin. I forgot about that. Brilliant. Classic 90s. FA Cup was won by Manchester City. Who did we all have? Tom. Chelsea.
We were knocked out by Man City, I believe.
I didn't do too much better. I had Arsenal. So, not too great by me. Thelan, you did say Man City won the FA Cup. So, it's now 9-9-8. Going into the final selection.
I hope you worked out a tiebreaker for this.
Yeah.
Because we are going to be on 9-9.
Because as we go into the final selection, it is, of course, the Champions League winners. Tom, who did you have?
I had Bayern Munich.
So, Tom, you finish on 9 points. Richard, who did you have? I had Real Madrid. Richard, you finish on 9 points. Thelan, who did you say it was?
Man City. Yeah,
and you finish on 9 points. Can
if
you
only there was somebody else
believe it?
In this predictions league. If only.
If only, huh?
Only
Danny
somebody
came
else
in just.
doing the predictions with us.
Danny came in just a touch too late, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, there are your predictions. We all finish on 9 points. However, one of us does owe someone some money, so at least one person lost. At least, and one person won. So yeah, well done. Well done, everyone. Congratulations to us all. I think that's the first time that's ever happened, and a 3-way tie. Well, it's never happened between me and Tom. We have never, ever been equal on points. And for the first time for it to ever happen, for all 3 of us to end on that, is incredible. And Thelan, you were 2 points behind at one point. That's amazing. That is absolutely incredible. I'm thrilled to pieces with that. That could not have gone any better. Now, had we had the sackings and the Ballon d'Or, I would have finished on 9 points. Tom, I think you would have finished on 10, and Thelan would have finished on 10. So it would have been a draw between you. Both had Benzema, yeah. So you two would have still drawn anyway. So it would have ended in a draw no matter what had happened. But for all 3 of us to finish on 9, I'm chuffed to bits with that. I'm really happy with that one. I love that. Right, I'm going to move us on to the Sacked in the Morning Hall of Fame. Trademark. The most prestigious Hall of Fame
you did not just trademark that.
I trademarked it like 5 weeks ago, mate. I don't know what you're talking about. So, I don't know if you know this or not, but
probably not.
Man City recently completed the treble.
No.
Quite a big achievement in English footballing terms. There's only been one other team that has completed the treble, not counting Liverpool, that has done that in history, and that was the other Manchester team. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. So, this week's Hall of Fame is a treble special. And said topic for this treble is missing puzzle pieces. So,
okay, you got me intrigued.
You will soon find out. So, gentlemen, your first choice is Erling Brut Haaland. Now, I don't like doing players that are currently still playing, but don't worry. We'll get to that. Don't worry. Was born on the 21st of July in the year 2000 in Leeds, UK. Alongside football, he also took part in many other sporting activities and achieved a world record in his age group for the standing long jump, which I think is quite impressive.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's tall, so, it probably helps. But then, I think he did it at under 9, so, maybe could have been an Olympian, I don't know.
I said the way that he's obviously pretty quick, so there's a lot of power and there's a lot of lower body strength, and that probably helps.
The way he runs is very weird, I've noticed. He runs very oddly. But anyway. His youth career started at the age of 5, playing for the academy of Bryn in Norway. At the age of 15, he was given his professional debut, and a year later, he would be signed by Molde manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, scoring 4 goals. Solskjaer, scoring 4 goals in 20 appearances. Quite strange that he was signed by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a previous treble-winning player also.
True.
He would then move to Austrian side RB Salzburg, where he would make a name for himself in Europe. Sorry, my paperwork is all over the place sometimes.
Stop. They're literally on pause of turning the page.
Do you know what it is? It's because I had to turn the page and then turn it round as well. It's like, oh, what? I wrote upside down on this page. That's helpful. He would make a name for himself in Europe, coming to the attention of Borussia Dortmund, who were looking for a replacement for the departing Robert Lewandowski. He would make his debut as a substitute and score a hat-trick within 23 minutes of his debut on the 18th of January 2020 away at FC Augsburg. So he came off the bench on his debut and scored a hat-trick in 23 minutes.
Sounds about on brand, isn't it, really?
On the 10th of May 2022, Erling Haaland agreed terms with one of his father's previous clubs, Manchester City, and in his debut season would score 52 goals in 53 appearances, winning the Premier League, the FA Cup, and helping his side win their first ever Champions League trophy. He has played 253 games, scoring 207 goals at club level and 24 goals in 25 games for Norway. He has won 2 league titles, 4 domestic cups, 1 Champions League, 1 European Golden Shoe, Austrian Footballer of the Year, Under-20 World Cup Golden Boot, Premier League Golden Boot, German Player and Young Player of the Year Award, Football Writers Award, Norwegian Sportsman of the Year, and 9 separate Team of the Year inclusions. Or will it be Dwight Eversley York, who was born on the 3rd of November 1971 in Trinidad and Tobago? And just a little tidbit I wanted to put in here, it might sway some opinions, is a Tottenham Hotspur fan. It's important information, damn it.
Who cares?
The literal look of roll your eyes disgust moment from Tom there was like,
Useless information.
No, it's vital facts, my friend. You know, this could sway the decision. York was spotted by Aston Villa manager Graham Taylor and Watford legend, playing for the opposing team in a tour of the West Indies in 1989, aged 17. Making his pro debut the following year, playing as a right winger until the 95-96 season, where after being moved to a centre-forward role, he would help lead Villa to a League Cup success. In August 1998, after much controversy, York would finally complete a £12.6 million move to Manchester United. He would finish his first season with 23 goals, a Premier League trophy, an FA Cup trophy, and a Champions League winners' medal, the first Champions League victory of Sir Alex Ferguson's career at Manchester United, and the first British team to complete the treble, not counting Liverpool's treble. They actually did it twice as well. They did it in 1984, but no one ever talks about that. He would go on to play 2 more seasons for United before moving on to Blackburn Rovers and would finish his career in 2009 at Sunderland. York would play at 1 World Cup with Trinidad and Tobago, playing every minute of the 2006 World Cup, playing in a defensive midfield role, showing his versatility, moving from right wing to centre forward to defensive midfield, being named man of the match in the game against Sweden. He played 615 games, scoring 198 goals, with 72 caps and 19 goals for Trinidad and Tobago. He won 5 league titles, 2 domestic cups, 1 Champions League, 1 Intercontinental Cup, 1 Caribbean Cup, 1 Premier League Golden Boot, 1 Premier League Player of the Season, 1 Team of the Year, 1 Hall of Fame entry, and a Choconia Medal of Trinidad and Tobago, which is the highest honour that a Trinidadian and Tobagan can be given, apparently. Okay. Or will it be your wildcard entry? Who, I would like to say, if you choose the wildcard, both Dwight York and Erling Haaland will be eligible to be up for entry to the Hall of Fame again. Because like I said, I don't like choosing players that still play. So I wanted to give you a wild card. Because in that Manchester United team, there was also possibly another missing puzzle piece which could have been more important. Jakob Jaap Stam was born 17th of July 1972 in Kampen, Netherlands. He started his youth career at Dutch side DOS Kampen and made his pro debut in 1992. He would play for several sides from 92 to 96, but it was at PSV Eindhoven where Jaap would distinguish himself, winning the Eredivisie and the Johan Cruyff Shield. The following year, in 1998, Stam would become the most expensive defender in history when Manchester United would pay £10.6 million for his services. In his first season, he would win much acclaim as well as the aforementioned treble, playing an integral part in all competitions. In 2001, Stam was controversially sold to Lazio in a decision that Alex Ferguson would claim was his biggest mistake in football. In 2005, he would reach his second Champions League final, but would lose on penalties to Liverpool after a 3-3 draw. He would play his final game in October 2007 in a 0-0 draw against NEC back in the Netherlands with Ajax. He played 553 club games, scoring 26 goals and 3 goals in 67 international appearances. He won 4 league titles, 9 domestic cups, 1 Champions League, 1 Intercontinental Cup, 2 Player of the Year awards, twice named Best Defender in the world, 6 Team of the Year inclusions, and 1 World 11 nomination. Because who says a missing puzzle piece can't be a defender?
Van Dijk.
He's not on the list yet. He didn't win the treble.
I know, he was a missing puzzle piece for Liverpool.
Exactly, yeah. Or it could have been Edison.
Oh, Alisson.
Alisson, sorry. Alisson. Edison's the other one.
Yeah. Wrong club.
Wrong club. Right country, wrong club. They're all Brazilians also. So, yeah.
No, Edison, I think, integral to Man City success as well.
I would agree, but I still think that they could probably win a title without him. They did with heart, didn't they? So,
Yeah.
It's just, I think he's more solid.
More underrated, really.
Yeah. It's a bit harsh that he's not Brazil's number one. I'd agree. He's more successful than
the wrong generation.
So, yeah, gentlemen, discuss, ask questions. What do you want to know? Let's make a decision.
You want to speak first, Thelan, or do you want me to?
You can go first. I'm going to debate this in my head for a minute.
Okay. So, when it was just 2, it was quite easy. When it was, you added the wild card.
Okay, alright, let me ask you then, when it was your team, who were you picking?
It's Haaland, really. He's the best player out of the 3, in my opinion, clearly. And that's not just recency bias. I don't think.
No, I'd say that you wouldn't suffer from recency bias. I think, if anything, all three of us suffer from nostalgia bias.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll probably be accused of that more than recency bias than anything else. Well, we hotly debated that when we were actually saying which team was better, weren't we, City or United? We went back and forward on that quite a lot, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I am going to be accused of nostalgia bias and probably pick Yaps down, to be fair.
Okay.
When a manager sells a player and then who then looks back and says it's his biggest regret in football, it tells you what that player meant to that team. And defense, to me, if you're defensively strong, as we discussed kind of earlier, it's a lot harder to be beaten. You can always nick a win. But to be defensively solid, and he was such a massive component of that team. So I would say Stan.
Okay, you're not swayed by the Dwight York. I mean, Colin York.
Well, the Caribbean Cup almost swung.
But I wouldn't say York was
hey,
the biggest...
Haaland hasn't won an international title, so,
Because United still had... United still had Solskjaer and Sheringham there. I don't think Dwight York was necessarily the main catalyst for it. United, they'd always scored goals. Whenever season you look at that point, they'd always scored a lot of goals.
But this was my point for the debate. Is now do you see what I mean by missing puzzle piece? Because all of these players won the treble in their first season with the club. So
I think the partnership with York and Cole was a massive factor for Man United that season.
Yeah, that was
one of the best partnerships I've ever taken. But,
even though it's been blown out of the water by other ones since, but
I'm just saying in general, it's like best of seeing.
That's the one. That's the one that we all think about, isn't it? No one ever says, "Oh, it's Shearer and Sheringham for England, and it's Cole and York at club level." No one ever says, "Oh, yeah, it's Lampard and Drogba." Like no one ever said that, did they?
You get the Kane and Son bit, but nobody says Lampard, Drogba. It's always in that combination. But I just think that he made them so much stronger defensively that it took a lot of pressure off of those guys further forward to be able to be creative for Cole and York to allow them to play with more freedom. And I don't think without Stan they'd have won the Champions League. Personally, where I'm going to sit on that one.
Bold claim.
Yeah, I'm saying yes now.
Okay. So Tom,
really
you said. So you said it became a lot harder for you once I chucked in the wild card as well. So it's between Haaland and Stam for you? I'm assuming then it's the York's out of the question. Yeah,
Stam was more of a contender for me than you. I think it was a more a world class level for longer than Dwight York was.
I'd agree with that, but that partnership always just, I don't know, like I said, it's probably nostalgia bias. I mean, because like I said, it's been blown out of the water since then on like 3 occasions. But looking back on it, that's the first time that I was ever like, if you got to sign those two together. You can't ever split them up, So that I have a fondness for York because of that reason, and he was one of those, I don't know why, but I have a penchant in myself personally for an unfashionable signing that just comes in and does something so tremendous at a big team. I don't know why, I really like that. Like Anelka is like one of my favourite signings for that reason, because
it follows like the underdog story, that's why.
Yeah, I love it. Like, you think York signing for United, I mean, he was just a decent player at Aston Villa. It was like, why is he after him so much? But then he got there and you're just like, wow, he's way better than I ever thought he was. And then Anelka is like, who is kid, and then all of a sudden he comes and wins the league, and it's like, Jesus, you know. I have a spot. Pardon?
Jamie Vardy, kind of the same.
Yeah. Like, where's this kid come from? And all of a sudden he's the Premier League top goal scorer. Yeah, I have a penchant for that. I don't know why. I love it. You know, so I have a soft spot for that. But having said that, I would agree that probably out of those three, he is the weakest choice. But that's not the point of this conversation. The point is that he turned out possibly to be a missing puzzle piece, because they didn't win anything the season before. Then they signed him. They signed Stam as well, obviously. So that's why I put him in there, because it's like, which one was the missing puzzle piece? Who's to say, you know? That's why I put him in there as well, because it's like, well, you can't really just choose York, because Stam was a massive signing that season as well, obviously. But I wanted to put the two strikers up against each other as well, because, you know. So yeah, Tom, where are we landing?
Did you make your pick?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, I need to make a pick because I'm a tiebreaker just in case. You're picking Haaland?
Yeah.
Okay. So it is me.
We're not a conversation about not picking because you're the tiebreaker. Now you are picking, my friend.
I'm going to go for York.
To make it a tie. I know a tie on this show. Show of ties.
Yeah.
It's the show of ties, yeah. No, I think I'm probably in agreement with. And we cut there.
No, this is so Richard could think about it and then edit it back in after that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
you're going to go off camera, flip a coin, and then edit his answer in at that point.
I need you two to do quick reactions for me, please. So Thelan, can I get your reaction shot, please? I think I'm going to agree with Thelan, because I don't like picking players that are still playing. It's the same reason. Because it's an interesting thing. Because, you know, like, City have been struggling to win the Champions League for so long, and they signed this one player, and then it's all just falling.
It's what he was brought in to do, wasn't it? Above anything else, it was what he was brought in to do.
I don't think Calvin Phillips was the missing puzzle piece for Man City.
That guy did bugger all season.
Calvin Phillips was the Scotland bench that he took the whole season.
Yeah. He made that his own, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
I was having this conversation with someone a few weeks ago. I was saying, if I was Calvin Phillips, because I'm young, and I'm probably going to do it again at some point, would I really want to celebrate the win when I know I had no part in it whatsoever? Now, I know you can say the argument of, well, team camaraderie and kinship and bonding, that's the part he played. But really, he had nothing to do with the football inside of it at all. And part of me really likes Lukaku for that when he was at Chelsea. And he said, I didn't win anything, so why the hell would I celebrate? I quite respect him for that, but I also see why players might think that's a little bit of a dick move, you know. So, alright, drama queen, Jesus.
So I don't care.
Yeah.
Comes across a little bit like that.
It's like, we're your team and we won, mate. Come on, you should be supportive of... I get both sides of the argument. But me personally, I probably would fall more towards the Lukaku side of things, where I'm like...
Maybe a bit of a muted celebration. Be happy for your teammates, but don't run around the pitch with your shirt in the air, running around with a trophy going, with your medal around, like you earned it. Yeah, like you earned it kind of thing. So,
I think maybe it would depend on my age as well. Like, I mean, if I was like 21, 22, how old's Calvin Phillips?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. I think I'd be a little bit more reserved about it. But if I was like 34 and like this is the first time I've ever done it, I'd be going nuts because I'd be like, I'm never doing this again. Woo!
Proper John Terry.
Proper John tearing it up, mate. I'll be there with my full kit on, scarf,
I was about to
hat,
say, yeah, full kit, scarf,
clangers, and I'm going nuts. I'm never getting this close again.
Then announce you're retiring on the pitch when it happens, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Like I didn't play at all this season, but I'm never playing again.
Yeah.
I'm going out champion, baby. So I think it would all depend on my age. But I think if I was Calvin Phillips's age, I'd be a little bit more reserved about it, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's not my point. My point is that, yeah, he came in as the missing puzzle piece. And it just so happened that... Yeah, Calvin Phillips, yeah. It just so happened that I wanted to put him up against another striker who also came in the season that the team won the treble and compare the two against each other. And the wild card came in because it's like, well, A, he was also signed that season. And he played a big part in that team as well that won the treble. So you can't really ignore him as a possible puzzle piece. Plus, I wanted the wild card because I didn't really think it was fair to put Haaland up now and then never give him another shot ever again. Because he's still playing and he's gonna
do outrageous things.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, well, he kind of deserves at least another shot. It's not his fault I'm putting him in now. Whereas the argument with Diego Maradona was he did everything. He's not doing anything more. So we are fairly judging these. He might. You don't know that. But it was fair to judge those two against each other because they have both.
I understand your logic.
Yeah. So that's why I said that I was putting the wild card in there for that reason. And partly to agree with Tom and partly agree with Thelan that I think Stam was integral to that United team. 100%. You know, he's the only player that Ferguson has ever said, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done. That was my biggest regret in football. He didn't even say that about Nistelrooy, you know?
No, or Keane or Beckham or anybody else.
And he was obsessed with Nistelrooy, though, you know? Like,
yeah, he was, yeah.
He was desperate to get him.
He was injured.
Yeah, he even went to the point of like, I don't care he failed a medical, let's sign him anyway. And the United board were like, no, that's not happening. And he was like, fine, I'll be back in a year.
Yeah, if you watch his interview with Gary Neville, Ferguson literally rang him every week to check up on him to see how he was doing.
Remember, don't sign for anyone else. We still want you.
Yeah, it was literally get back, get playing, and then in the summer you are mine. And he chased him for literally like 2 years.
But then, even him, he didn't regret getting rid of. He was like, no, it was the right decision at the right time. The fact that that's the only player he says that was a mistake, speaks volumes. And also to Tom's point, Stam was a bigger player for longer than York was. I mean, Stam went from there to Lazio for another defensive world record fee. Dwight York went to Blackburn.
And And the argument could be that York hit his peak in the 2 years that he was at United, 2 or 3 years, and then after that, before that there wasn't a lot. After that there wasn't a lot. The fact that he was playing defensive midfield by 2006, he just hit the right kind of window. Whereas Jack Stam was still top of his game. 2005 Champions League final was right now.
Yeah.
So there is that argument there in terms of like career longevity and stuff.
So yeah, I think that's a comfortable. I'm comfortable making that decision. I think that's a good decision. Now, that does mean that both Haaland and York are up for re-entry. There's probably only likely going to be one that gets put forward for re-entry, though. But never say never. But Dwight York will get another shot. And I'm sure he'll get into the Hall of Fame then.
Yeah. Who knows?
But yeah, Yap Stam. well done. The Dutch RoboCop. I'm pretty sure he was known as the Robot or Man of Steel or something like that.
Something like that.
I'm pretty sure he was. Yeah, he had a nickname like that because, quite honestly, he was tough as iron, and I miss defenders like that.
Yeah, okay. Just a defender. What about anything else? Just go out and punch people. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. Break legs. Let them know you're there. Get up their ass.
Yeah.
So, one last question just on that front, just because I saw this the other day. Vidic or Stam?
Stam. I still think Stam was a better player.
Ooh.
Vidic was lucky and was, you know, he had Ferdinand next to him, who did a lot of the work that Vidic didn't want to do. Whereas Stam was just, anywhere there was a ball around the 18-yard box, Stam was there.
What are you talking about? Stam had Henning Berg next to him. How dare you? Ronnie Johnson. Yeah. How dare you slam?
I think you just kind of proved the point I was making.
I'll pick Vidic then, just to be the contrarian.
Okay. Well, anyway, congratulations, Yap. You are in the Sacked in the Morning Hall of Fame trademark. The most prestigious Hall of Fame. You are in, and Diego Maradona will never be there. And just before we wrap up, we do obviously need to thank our supporters. We need to thank our Patreon supporter, Cole Worley, who is one of the hoi polloi. Thank you very much for your support. We greatly appreciate that. And we also need to thank Nina Kelm, who has supported us on our PayPal. So thank you to you also. And if you would like to support the show in any way, you could obviously head over to Patreon and become a Patreon member for as little as £1 should you choose. However, if you pay us just a little bit more, chuck in some chalky biscuits with our cup of tea, you will be able to see this show and any other show. Well, shut up, it's not about you. Or listen on our special Patreon feed to early access editions of any show that you may listen to, including this one. Or if you just want to make a one-off payment, you can head over to our Patreon as well. So, but thank you once again, Cole Worley and Nina Kelm. Thank you very much for joining me, gentlemen. It's a very interesting show this time around. I had a lot of fun. So, thank you for joining me, Tom.
Thank you for joining me.
You said that on our last Simpsons one as well.
Did I? I'll make that my catchphrase then, if I remember it for the next show we do.
Just got to remember to be a twat, and you'll remember. It's fine.
Yeah, quite easy thing to remember.
And thank you for joining me, Thelan.
No worries, my pleasure as always.
And thank you for listening. My name is. Until next time, take care.
Get sacked in the morning. Get sacked in the morning. You'll be gone without warning. All the best plays have gone out on gone. You get sacked in the morning. And the contract will be paid off in full. Sacked in the morning. And there's plenty more clubs out on the pool. Sacked in the morning. Take it to the corner flag. No more questions from the local rag.